15 years of experience in WordPress, and maybe this is something that's happened to you. I very often work with product teams, and if you're a product manager, I'm putting you on the spot right now, because what often happens is product managers will decide on a feature, and they will say, we're going to build this feature, it's going to be fantastic, I'm so excited about it. They will work with their engineering team for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, however many sprints long it takes to get this really fantastic feature off the ground. And then the day before they're about to release it, or maybe the day they're releasing it, they will go to the marketing team and they will say, oh, by the way, marketing, we're releasing a brand new feature tomorrow. Can you please write a blog post, get a newsletter ready, and some product marketing material for us? Does that sound like something that maybe you've experienced before? Maybe you've been that person who has been sleeping soundly at night, 2 a.m., your phone buzzes, and it's just the message, are you awake? If that's you, you're in the right place. Maybe you're the person who shows up on a Monday morning with a task list you thought was set on Friday, only to discover that it's 3 times longer when you show up on Monday morning. If that's you, my friend, you are in the right spot. If you've ever been told our new product is launching next week, only to discover that the product doesn't even exist yet, my friend, you're in the right spot. My name is James Giroux. I've been in WordPress for a while, but as you heard, I'm not from around here. I am from Canada, and I'm going to be talking about workplace culture, workplace experience, and while my lived experience is from North America primarily, some of the things we're going to talk about, I hope will resonate with those of you who have a very different experience. And if there are things that are a little bit, you're like, yeah, you just don't get it, James. That's okay. We'll hopefully get through it, and you can help me figure that out as we go. But there's one very special person that I want to acknowledge who helped me create this, and that's my colleague Dee Teal. Dee Teal and I run a podcast called Future of Team Podcast, where we talk about workplace stuff and leadership and what it means to work in WordPress and be remote and do all those kinds of things. And she and I were supposed to present this together. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it. But before we go any further, I want to make sure that I acknowledge all of the effort and energy and time she put in to helping me put this talk together. So thank you, Dee. Well, to begin with, why don't we start by just taking a look at why this talk matters. When we talk about performance, we can't ignore the growing mental health crisis in Asia. According to studies, conditions like depression and anxiety could cost our economies billions of dollars. And that's just not the financial cost, it's also obviously about people. 82% of folks in the survey area of Asia that was done have a moderate to high mental health profile. 54% of employees think it could harm their career if their employers ever found out that they're struggling with mental health issues. $11 billion was the 2023 cost of anxiety and mental health productivity in Singapore alone. There's a lot going on. The cost of mental health is projected to be around $6 trillion by 2030. So if you are a leader, if you are a company owner, if you are somebody who works anywhere in the world, mental health has to be something you are considering when it relates to your workers and it relates to the way that you do your work. In particular, I want to spend some time looking at Asia. With a score of 62.4, the Asia Mental Health Index reveals employees in Asia are under significant mental health strain in every location involved in the study. When teams operate under constant pressure, the outcome is really predictable, isn't it? Right? Errors increase, turnovers spike, and performance actually drops. In some Asian markets, companies might be tempted to think, well, you know what? We can always hire more people. If these people that are in these jobs can't do the job, don't worry about it. We'll just let them go. We'll bring in somebody new who's fresh and got energy, and we'll make it work. Don't you think that's a little bit short-sighted? I mean, it ignores the hidden costs, like training new people, losing that knowledge that somebody has brought into the company, and the negative impact that high turnover has on team morale and customer relationships. I work in the enterprise space, and I can tell you when I joined, it was really interesting. We had to work really hard to navigate even just a change in who was going to be the face that our clients or our customers were seeing in their biweekly phone calls, right? And if that happens for us when we make some of these very sporadic changes, if your changes are happening much more regularly, that has a huge impact on the relationship and the renewal potential of your key clients and customers. In the WordPress ecosystem, where specialists' skills and domain knowledge matter, the cost of replacing burned out developers, designers, and project managers is actually pretty high. And I think if we want truly high performance in a competitive market like WordPress, we can't rely on a churn and burn approach. We need to build predictable teams that deliver consistently, which I believe is far more cost effective than constantly hiring replacements. 45% of employees say their mental health is having an impact on their productivity. That means half of your team is already probably performing lower than they would be if they weren't burned out. One of the really interesting stats, and I'm going to localize this for you here, is just take a look at where this is most predominant. Malaysia, 62%, and the Philippines, 60%. Malaysians, Filipinos, we feel for you. Are you okay? Hug your neighbor, give him a little pat on the back, say, it's okay, fighting, we're going to get through this. All right? So let's take a look then at what high performance is. Now, you probably know this already, right? What is high performance? You hear this because every employer, every manager, every team talks about this. We're going to become a high-performing workplace. What does that look like? Bali bali, hurry, hurry, right? 996, right? You're going to work forever, right? Omotenashi, hustle culture, right? High performance is do more and do it faster. Does that sound about right to most of you when you hear the term high performance? Ugh. But I want to ask this question. What do leaders really need? Is what leaders need really you doing more faster, harder? Or is there something different? See, I believe that what leaders hate the most is surprises. Have you ever heard that before? As a manager, don't surprise me. I don't want to find out about something that I didn't already know about. It's the worst possible thing for a leader. Leaders love predictability and consistency. They want to be able to know that if they say, hey, we can get this done in 2 sprints, or we can get this done in 4 sprints, that what they commit to, they can deliver on. And if you as a team are stuck holding the bag of that, right? You've got a new product launching next week and it doesn't exist yet, right? Who's going to be working at 2 a.m. in the morning? Who's going to be pulling an all-nighter or an all-weekender to make sure that it gets launched on time? It's not the manager. It's not the leader. It's you, right? See, when a team can do what they say they can do and deliver it over and over and over again, that's magic to an executive trying to plan for a wide variety of things beyond an individual project. The more teams are able to work better together and deliver more complex projects, the faster the organization can move forward. So I want to take a minute here and redefine what high performance is for you, for your teams, for your company, hopefully for WordPress as a whole. You see, I believe a people-first, high-performance culture is one where teams can reliably deliver what they say they will, when they say they will, over and over again. Think about it. If you've got a feature release coming up in 4 weeks, and you know that you've got to do at least a week of QA, you've got at least 2 different milestones that you've got to hit, and you've got to do code, reviews or a whole bunch of just brainstorming to even figure out how you're going to solve this problem, and that's going to take 2 to 3 weeks. You're already hitting that 4-week window with not a lot of time to go. But if your leader comes to you and says, hey, how long is this going to take you? And you say, you know what, I can actually get this done in 6 weeks. If you give us those 2 extra weeks to get this done, we can deliver it for you. A good leader is going to go, okay, I can handle that, right? As long as you do it. And when you do, you build trust, and that leader goes, okay, I know you can deliver a feature in 6 weeks. Awesome. That means the next time we've got a feature to release, probably it's going to take about 6 weeks. And when you do it again and again and again, they're going to other people, they're looking at their forecasts, they're looking at all of the other things that they have to worry about, and they're going, we got this. We can actually predict when we're going to be able to deliver the things that we say we're going to deliver. That's awesome, right? That's what leaders want. They don't want you working at 2 a.m. in the morning, collecting overtime, feeling burned out, feeling stressed. At least I hope they don't. See, the traditional approach is speed and quantity above all. Hustle culture, unrealistic timelines, short-term wins, and lots of pressure from your leader and your manager breathing down your neck. How long is QA going to take? Right? Why have you not got the documentation done? Well, the feature didn't get delivered to us in a final format where we could actually do the documentation until yesterday, and it takes at least 3 days for us to test it and figure out what it even does to make sure that what you told us it was in the brief matches what it's actually going to do in the real world. I mean, then you get support involved. Like, there's just so much to do, right? And we often get surprised by all of that. But in a people-first approach, you get predictable delivery. You get sustainability and consistency, realistic timelines, long-term success, and you get leadership as support. Instead of your leaders breathing down your neck saying, why is this not done? You get leaders on your team saying, hey, what can I do to unblock you so that you have what you need in order to be able to do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to be able to do it by? It's a totally different ballgame. Lao Tzu says, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Reminds me of this story I heard about the special teams in the US. They have the saying, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And I don't know if that resonates with you, but for me that really resonated because think about it, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's not about rushing through something. When you rush through something, things break. When you rush through something, you don't get it done exactly the way it should be done. The quality suffers. Mistakes get made. But when you can slow something down and you can do it smoothly, it gets done, and it gets done well. And when you do that, you end up getting further, faster over time, because that smoothness allows you to break through all of those mistakes and you avoid those, bug crushing parties and all that kind of stuff that you end up having to do, or what we call fast follows, right? Where you do a big release and then you have to hurry for the next couple of weeks afterward to kill all the bugs that you didn't actually see when you released the feature. So now I want to take a step back. We've talked a little bit about the problem, right? Hopefully you can start to see a little bit of the solution, but I can just hear what's going on in your mind. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, but James, yeah. You say that, but you don't know my manager. This does not apply in my situation, does it? Right? Hopefully today, if you are a leader, I'm going to give you some things to think about that you can implement in your workplace that will help to change that culture away from bali bali, away from hurry hurry, away from 996 to something a little bit more sustainable. And if you're just an everyday individual contributor, you're just one of the workers who shows up, maybe you're the hube, the junior who's the newest member of the team, and all you have to do is show up and grab the coffee for everyone and go to do all the different things that they need to do. Sorry, I've watched way too many K-dramas. If that's you, don't worry. I'm hoping as well that I'm going to give you some tools and some ideas and some thoughts that you can bring to your team to help them adapt and change and grow as well. Okay? Here we go. Number one, if you're a leader, it starts with you. I found this really cool quote from Jack Ma that I want to share with you. Jack Ma, if I can find it. Oh, I won't be able to find it, of course. Let me see here. Jack, what did you say? Jack said that a good boss is better than a good company. Isn't that a great quote? A good boss is better than a good company. I completely agree with that. That often, when we talk in work culture, we say people don't leave companies, they leave bosses, right? That's probably true for most of us. So it starts with you. Leaders are the ones responsible for creating an environment where people first high performance can thrive. See, if we are willing to accept that a people-first, high-performance culture is one where our teams can deliver what they say they will, when they say they will, over and over again, then our roles as leaders need to shift too. We need to move away from directing to unblocking our teams. A good leader is not telling you what to do, they're asking you what's in your way. The culture we want to create has to start with us. We as leaders need to model the behaviors we want to see in our teams. So if you're the one sending those Slack messages at 2 a.m. saying, "Are you up?" Right? You need to think about that. Your team will probably think that they need to as well. So what you model, they will do as well. So let's take a look at this. Number one, I want you to lean into realistic commitments and clarity. Number one, it's okay to be full. It's okay to have enough work to do, right? Ensuring teams have the bandwidth to meet goals prevents overload and last-minute crises. You need to check in with your team. Are you at capacity? Do you have time to take on something more? No? Okay, that's okay. That means they're full up, right? Open communication culture. Oh, this one is hard. Anybody work in an environment where the boss is always right, even when they're 100% wrong? Anybody ever tried to confront a boss who is 100% wrong? In North America, we do this all the time. It's called being a good employee. What I've learned about Asia, you don't confront the boss, right? The boss is always right, 100% of the time. Always right. Always. Right? And they have to save face too, so you can't even tell them they're wrong to their face. You've got to find alternative pathways to make that happen. So leaders, here's what I want you to consider. And this is going to be hard if you come from a culture where you're supposed to always be right and you're supposed to always have the answers. If there's anything I've learned as a leader, it's that the best thing I can do is be the stupidest person in the room. Okay? If I hire well, if I lead well, the people that are working for me, 10 times smarter than me. So how do I create an environment where I let that intelligence, where I let that expertise lead me? I need to be willing to be open to feedback, to ask them where they think things can change or where they think things can happen. So you got to ask for honest feedback. And this is really hard because it's not easy in cultures where that's not normal to get into the habit of it. But I tell you honestly, if you are a leader, this is your job. It's not your employee's job. It's your job as a leader. ask for the feedback. Hey, what do you think we could be doing differently here? Is there anything you can see on this roadmap that might be a blocker to the path that we've set forward? How do you think we're going to be able to achieve this? Do you have any thoughts? Those types of questions invite and give permission to your team to ask, and it will take time for them to do it. Don't expect them to do it the first time, right? In fact, probably the first few times you ask, they're not going to say anything. You're going to get crickets. And over time, I want you to think about number 3, make it yours. Normalize phrases like, I don't know yet, let me check. I need help. If you as a leader say, hey, you know what? We've got this big project and the scope seems pretty clear, but I really don't know how we're going to be able to do this. I'm stuck. I could really use your help. That sets the tone for your team. And it hopefully creates space for them to ask those questions and do that as well. Offer safe channels for raising concerns about timelines or scope. You might create a channel in Slack where people can anonymously ask things. You can do different things in your environment where you say, hey, you know what? We're going to spend a few minutes in this meeting and we're going to suspend reality here. And instead of it being a situation where I'm the boss and you're the employees, we're all going to be equal in this moment right here. And we're going to share equally. And I want to hear your concerns about what's going on with this project. I want to know if there's any challenges that you see coming up. Create that space and see what happens. Hopefully, it can help your team voice risks or concerns earlier so that when you get to crunch time and the deadline is approaching, no one is surprised about where these blockers are, where the speed bumps are. Oop. Next, design systems for sustainability and scale. Standardize project rhythms. This may seem straightforward to you if you come from an agile workplace or an agile culture, but there are routines, there are rituals, there are things that you can put in place with your team that will actually promote the kind of conversations that should be happening. One of the things I love is this idea of a retrospective. Is anybody familiar with the term retrospective and what that is? So for those of you who don't, basically in an agile work environment, often you have work that will take a certain amount of time, like what we call a sprint. So you might go for 1 week or 2 weeks, and you have certain things you want to deliver by the end of that 2-week sprint. At the end of that sprint, you've now delivered this piece of work. What's the first thing you start to do? You start to think about what's coming next. Well, a retrospective is an intentional period of time where you stop and you pause and you think about the work that you've done. And you celebrate what you've done, but you also think about what you might have been able to do better. Hey, we just did this 2-week sprint. We delivered this feature. How did it go? It's not just about what you delivered, but it's about the process of how you delivered. So you start to implement systems with maybe very specific questions. On a scale of 1 to 3, how was our communication throughout this? 1 being okay, and 3 being the best it's ever been, right? Or maybe 1 needs work, and 3 is it's the best it's ever been. Hey, you know what? It needs work. What in particular do you think we need to work on when it comes to our communication? Well, by Wednesday of week 1 in this sprint, we knew very clearly that we weren't going to be able to do these 3 parts of the feature that we wanted to release. Okay, but nobody talked to us about it. They just assumed we were going to get it done, and it wasn't until Wednesday of week 2 that it actually came out that we weren't going to be able to meet the deadline. Now I'm stressed, right, as a lead. The team is stressed because they know that this is coming, and they feel that tension, and that's creating that anxiety, that burnout, that sense of dread, right? That something's going to happen. It's going to get caught, and we're all going to get in trouble for this. Or we're going to be working over the weekend so that by the time Monday rolls around and we have to bring it to the higher ups, it's actually done, right? That's not a great turnout. And if you create a system and a space for that to happen, right, those retros to happen, then you can ask the question, okay, well, what do we need to implement maybe so that this doesn't happen next sprint? And instead of it being something, a bad thing, it becomes an opportunity for growth and for learning. Cross-functional alignment. This is a big one. I used to work in a company where we had 7 or 8 different product teams, all doing different things across a variety of different platforms that we were creating. And I was the only person responsible for communicating to our core customer group about the changes that were coming. And so once a quarter, I would have to get all of these different product managers together, and we would say, okay, tell me your roadmap. What's coming up for this quarter? And when do you think you're going to be releasing, your feature of the month or whatever it is, feature of the quarter? And so we would work together to figure out where those were. And it would become very clear early on, oh, hey, you want to do this on this day, but we want to do this on that day, and there's going to be a conflict. And so we need to figure out who gets priority on resources, on comms people, on communicating to our core customer group, all of those different things, because if we don't, they're going to get 3 emails on the same day, and all of the things we want them to be doing are going to get completely lost in the noise. Those kinds of things can be avoided if you create space for cross-functional alignment. We don't want one team blindsided by the work of another team. We don't want teams working in silos. A unified roadmap reduces last-minute chaos, fosters a sense of shared ownership across the organization as a whole as well. And finally, transparent knowledge sharing. This is huge. I joined Automatic about 6 months ago, and you want to talk about knowledge sharing. They have an internal system called P2, which is basically like it's like an internal WordPress blog system set up where everybody has their own blog, and all the different teams are always writing like what they're doing, what they're working on, what customers are saying, what new initiatives they've been thinking about. In fact, the last couple of weeks have been a lot of posts about how different teams are using AI in their workflows and how we can get that going. This idea of knowledge sharing and making sure that there's a central place for all of your company knowledge to live is extremely helpful, because I know what's going on. So here's the thing, I work in VIP, but I know what's going on in the marketing roadmap for Woo and Jetpack, and all I have to do is a quick little search of our internal system to get the specific dates things are rolling out. That's huge for a company, right? To have that kind of access to knowledge sharing. So central repositories and clear documentation let both new and experienced team members access project details seamlessly. It's really great. And it's one of the things I love about Automatic is that I can go on my own adventure and find whatever information I need to find about whatever I'm curious about. And I think that it's helped me to get up to speed a lot faster than if I had to hunt down a specific person that I didn't know who lived halfway around the world in a different time zone, try to set up a meeting with them just to figure out that they're not the right person to talk to. Actually, the person I need to talk to is in a different time zone, in a different team across the world, right? And set up a separate meeting with them. No one likes that, right? Cool. Is everybody following along? We're good? Yeah? Awesome. This one for me is probably the biggest one, and I think it's the one that most teams overlook because we're so eager to do the work that we forget to celebrate the work we've done. I think regular retros are huge. They are good, but I don't want you to focus just on how the process went. I want you to also celebrate what you've been able to accomplish. If you are not having little fiestas with your team every time you deliver something great, you need to stop and you need to do that. Buy snacks, right? Celebrate. I don't know, get on whatever it is, Google Meet and do the little celebration. Let the little party confetti emojis go crazy. Whatever it is, celebrate your wins. Your team needs it. You need it. And it's a great way to communicate to the rest of the company just how awesome you are. All right? Works for everyone. The other thing you want to do is emphasize actionable lessons. You can maintain harmony in settings, especially where direct criticism is hard to do. If you are working in a space where you cannot directly criticize your boss, right, because you need to save face, right, and you need to protect their image, then this is a great way to do it. A retro is a place where you can ask the question, hey, what are we learning here? Is there something we could maybe do better? And it gives you an opportunity to talk around the person and get to the actual issues that you need to have resolved. And hopefully, if you have a good, strong leader, I know that's a big ask, but hopefully if you have a leader, they can figure out, oh, maybe if I change my approach here, we can get a better result too. Tracking metrics, data-driven adjustments at all levels. This is a really, really cool one. If you are looking to increase performance in your team, knowing what your estimates of delivery are versus your actual can be really significant in helping you shift the focus on the rush of getting it delivered to the process of delivering. And when you're more focused on the process of delivering, that's where you as leaders get to unblock your team. That's where you get to discover where your problem areas are. That's where you get to see the magic of how things are made actually get going. And it really, for me, is all about this. It's shifting from a culture of fear to a learning mindset. That's what a high-performance culture is really great at. What are we learning in this situation? What are we learning through this process, through this delivery method that we're doing? And what's really cool is that when you get all of these things in place, you get some really cool stuff happening. You get predictable delivery and reduced firefighting. Instead of feeling like you're always rushing to meet a deadline or you're always missing deadlines, you get to actually meet them, right? Client trust grows, team confidence grows. Remember, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. You get higher engagement and retention. Your team is actually not going to be having a nightmare on Sunday night. They're going to be excited to show up on Monday morning because they know you as a leader have their back, your team is in a great place, and they love the work that they're doing. That's, crazy. Can you imagine? Can you imagine actually being excited to go to work on Monday morning? How crazy would that be? Wow. Long-term growth and well-being. By continually improving processes and respecting each person's capacity, you sustain performance without burnout. And over time, this approach, this balanced approach, drives innovation and steady results. When you're not rushing around to figure things out or to patch holes or you're not worrying about not meeting a deadline, you have space to think about what you could do next, how you can innovate, how you can optimize. And all of those things are really great things for a team that wants to be around for the long term. If you're curious about this kind of stuff, there's a book that I've read that really influenced a lot of my thinking on this. It's called Turn the Ship Around. It is about a submarine captain who gets thrown onto the worst performing submarine in the US fleet. And he has to figure out how to get that team to do the things that they're supposed to do. And it's all about his journey of doing it. So I highly recommend this. And that's it. Any questions?